Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel A to Z Automation in Java. I hope you all liked our previous videos, and if you didn't watch yet, please go and watch them. The link is shared in the description. And in the previous video we had discussed about what are different data types in Java. So let's proceed further and now start our new topic. What is an object in Java? So today's topic is object in Java. Basically it's the instance of a class, and object have state and behavior. An object is an instance of a class. It has state and behavior. So what are state and behavior here? So if we talk about state, then state represents attributes of an object. So it is represented by attributes of an object. And if we talk about behavior, it represents the methods of an object. It is represented by methods of an object. So the point comes here is how we declare an object. So if we talk about declaring an object, so it's also known as instantiating an object. Object and instance both are similar to each other. So if we are talking about declaring an object, it's also known as or also called instantiating a class. Declaring of object is also known as instantiating a class. So we can say that when an object of a class is created, the class is said to be instantiated. Whenever we create the object of class, the class is said to be instantiated. And all the instances whichever we are creating shares the attributes and behavior of the class. So what are attributes and behavior? These attributes represents the state. Basically what are the different data types we are declaring, what are the variables, these are coming under the attributes. And if we are talking about behavior, then we are talking about the different methods which are present inside the class. So all the instances share the attributes and behavior of a class. All the instances. So here instance is also known as object. Wherever we are talking about instance, it's also known as object. All the instances share the attributes and behavior. Behavior means methods. Behavior of a class. Okay, but if we talk about the values of those attributes, attribute means the variables which we are talking about. If we talk about the values of those variables, but the values of those attributes is unique for an object. It means that the different object which we are creating, suppose we created 2 to 3 different objects inside a class, so value of each attribute inside an object is unique for that particular object. Okay, so here we can say that, but the value of those objects, that is what we are talking about. Attributes means we are talking about the state, that is state, are unique for that object, for each object, we can say that, for each object which we are creating. Okay, and we can also say that a single class may have multiple instances, any number of instances or object.
A class can have any number of instances or objects.
So suppose let the class name is test. So if we are talking about a test class, let's suppose we written test and we are giving a reference name as ref. So here what we are doing, we are just declaring an object. We just declared an object. So the class name here is test. Here test is the class name. Test is the class name here. Okay. So if we declare the reference variable ref, if we talk about this reference variable ref, if we declare this reference variable like this, then its value will be undefined. As of now, its value is undefined until an object is actually created. As of now, we didn't created the object. We just declared that we are going to use ref reference variable to store the object of the class, but we didn't created the object yet. So the value of this ref is as of now undefined. Undetermined means we can say that the value of this ref is null until the object is actually created and assigned to it. Okay, simply declaring a reference variable doesn't create an object. You can directly say that simply declaring the object, declaring the reference variable, or does not create an object. By declaring the reference variable, the object is not created. It's just known as the declaration of the object. Okay, so now what we have to do in order to create the object, we need to initialize it. Initializing an object. Okay, so for initialization, what we have to do, we need the new operator. The new operator instantiates a class by allocating memory for a new object. Basically, what's the purpose of the new keyword? The new operator instantiates a class by allocating memory for a new object and returns a reference to the memory. So new keyword basically creates or allocates the memory for the new object, and this reference variable returns a reference for that particular memory which is allocated. It returns the reference of that memory. Okay, so if we talk about this test class, then in order to create the object, what we have to do, we have to just declare, and along with we need to initialize this one. So this is known as initialization. Now the object of the class is created, and here we are using new operator. So what it is doing, it is allocating a memory to the new object whichever we have created. Okay, so this is all about creating the object. So now what is happening here, this object is basically containing all the attributes and values of a particular class. Okay, this object has all the states and behavior of the class. What are the states? States are the attributes, and behavior are known as the methods of the class. So by using this reference name ref, we can call all the values and variables along with the methods of that particular class. Okay, now let's go and see the example of this one. Suppose we are creating inside this Eclipse. In the previous session we have created this new project. So inside this project, inside core Java package, I am just creating a new class. So here we will go to this new section and we will create a class. Now just give it a name as object. Okay, so this is the class. And now here what we will do, we will create few variables. Int a is equals to 20, suppose float f is equals to 12.2f. okay, now we will create few methods inside this one. So we are creating public void m1 method, and inside this m1 method we will just display on the console as m1 method. We are calling one line which will display on the console as m1 method. Now just copy this one and create one more method inside the class with different name, because Java don't allow us to create two references with the same name. So we will refer this method as m2. So in this method we are displaying m2 method. Okay, now we will just create the object of the class. So in order to create the object of the class, what is the main thing we have to do? We have to just pass the class name. This is the declaration of the object. So in the declaration of the object, what we are doing, we are writing the class name first. Test is the class name and we are giving the reference name. So first of all we have to provide the class name. So inside this main method, suppose we have to create the object of the class, then we have to pass the class name first, and we want to create the object of this class. So the name of the class is object. So first of all what we have to do, we have to write object here. Now we have to provide one reference name. Suppose that we are giving ref, and if we provide semicolon here, then this is known as declaration of the object. It is just the declaration. Memory is not allocated to this one as of now. We just declared that ref will be used to store the object of the class. Object of which class? Object class. The name of the class is object, so it will store the object of this object class. Okay, now what we have to do, we will now initialize this one. For initializing an object, we have to write this statement using the new operator. New operator will allocate the memory to the object. So now we have to provide new operator here, and again we have to give the class name with circular brackets open and close along with semicolon. So this statement now is known as object of the class. Now the new object of the class is created, and what happened here, the new keyword allocates the memory to that object, and inside the memory allocation, what happens there, suppose we have created the object of which class, we have created the object of this class. So what will happen here is that new memory will be created as we are using the new keyword. So new memory will be allocated like this. Suppose this is the memory which is created with the new keyword, and inside this all the variables and methods of this class will get copied. So all the variables and methods of this class will get copied inside this section like this. Okay, so all of these will be copied. So what is the reference name we have given to this object? Ref is the reference name. So this is the object which is created and the name of this is ref. So inside this reference object, all the variables and methods of that class are copied here. So now if we want to call any of the variable of this section, this is the heap memory which is allocated with that new keyword. So if we want to call any of the variable or method which is copied here inside this one, so we have to use the reference name ref. And suppose now we want to call any of that particular method. Suppose we want to call this method inside this main method. So what we have to do, we have to just use the reference name of the object, as we are creating the object of the class. So inside this ref, all the variables and methods of this class are copied. So now we are going to call the different methods of this class using the reference of this object which we have created. So here we are doing ref dot, and after pressing the dot you can directly see that all the variables of this class has a and f variable. So these two variables are getting displayed here, and what is the name being displayed here is the object. So this is the class name which is getting displayed here. And if you scroll down, you will see m1 and m2 as well. m1 and m2 are the two methods whose return type is void. So these two methods are getting displayed here, and these methods are also of the object class. So we can call any of that method here. Okay, now you can see that we are able to call any of that method. So now in order to execute, just right click on this class and click on run as Java application. Okay, now you can see that it is displaying two lines on the console. So firstly we are calling m1 method, so our control will go to m1 method and m1 method will be executed first. That's why it is displaying m1 method on the console first. Once the m1 method is executed, our code will now move on to next line of the code. That is, now it will call the m2 method. So m2 method will be executed line by line. So here it is displaying m2 method on the console. So the next line is getting displayed as m2 method. Okay, so we can say that object contains a copy of a class. Simply, in a simple words, we can say that object contains a copy of a class. Okay, so we can call any of the variable or method of a class anywhere by using the object of that class. Okay, so this is the object of a class. If anyone have any doubt, please feel free to share your comments. I will be happy to answer you. So now in the next session we will discuss about the new topics which were there. Take care, bye bye, and please do share, subscribe and like the channel. Okay, thank you.